Trying to co-parent with a narcissistic ex truly is a nightmare. I know because I experienced it for many, many years. And I also know because I work with many of you who are going through it right now and have done the whole of my career. So I know the pain that you feel right now, the confusion, the exhaustion, the looking for that one thing that you can say to them that brings them into the moment where they go, oh yes, of course, no, I definitely don't want to do that to our child. Oh yes, that makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, no, I'll go along with that. I know because I tried it myself. I turning myself inside out, feeling like, but surely if I tell him this, then he will see that it's not good for our child. Some of you are going through the court system, trying to not only advocate for your child with your ex, but also through the court. So what have I learned over many 27 years of doing this personally, but also doing it professionally? There is no way that you can convince your narcissistic ex of anything. Now, why is that? Because there should be, shouldn't there? But there just isn't. You know, the biggest thing that's going to save you and your children is feeling able, and this is very hard, to let go of the need, and even I feel loath to say the word belief, but I think in this situation I am saying the belief that you are somehow going to find the golden key to the door with your ex, whereby he or she will go, oh my gosh, yes, I'm such a fool. I see how much our child has been suffering. Of course I will agree to that now, or of course I will stop giving them, fizzy drinks and 5 videos back to back when they stay with me. It isn't going to happen. Now, why is this? Well, what happens with somebody who is very narcissistic is they are very wired to not in any way give any of what feels like to them their power away. So anything that looks, sounds, or feels like, oh, I have given some ground on this, feels very triggering for them. So they will block, or sometimes they might go along with things for a brief while, but only because they can seize power back and pull you back into the boxing ring again by changing the rules. And this is what you're probably very familiar with, has happened over and over again, even if you sometimes felt like, oh, I think she gets it or he gets it. Then boom, suddenly the rules change, or suddenly your child comes back and says, no, this has happened, or something else. And of course, that's another thing, that the children often are very, very, very manipulated by these exes as well in this process, and they always suffer. They always suffer because, as you know from the person who's trying to bring them center stage and get their needs met, that's what their other parent just doesn't do. So a quick word about, well, why is this? So the way I've come to understand it from working with so many parents all my career who have had narcissistic exes is that it's really about a high level of complex trauma that this narcissist experience, which is all tied up with the relationship stuff, the early relationship stuff, which we call attachment. Which means that, and this is not an excuse, please don't hear that I'm in any way excusing them, but it can be useful sometimes as a way of going, okay, now I get it, I can just park them over there, because I get that somebody with that level of complex trauma and need for connection, but they don't know how to do it in a healthy way, they only know how to do it in a controlling, really, really messed up way because of what happened to them, means that This is a race I can never win. However hard I run against this person, however much I train, however much whatever I do, they are always going to change the finishing line or move it somewhere else or change it from a race to a game of tennis or whatever the hell. They're going to do it. So that sounds very defeatist, maybe what you're thinking. But again, you know, this comes from years and years and years of working with people going through this and having experienced it myself for years and years and years with my now grown-up son's father. What the way to get through this, and it's not easy to do, but it is the only way I have come to learn, is you have to work so hard to focus on yourself and on your child or your children. So it may be that you cannot get the contact arrangements changed. It may be, you know, despite everything you've tried, that you cannot get them to see that dropping your child late to school every Monday morning is very distressing for them. Because remember, they don't want to see or do anything that they feel might be making life easier for you. They're just not going to do it. So the only way I survived it was just to laser focus in on my child. So I couldn't make a lot of things right that his father did, but what I could do was make sure when he would come back from seeing him or a phone call or whatever, not to go after, not to get back in the race with my ex, but to be with my child and really care about how he was feeling about daddy not bringing him back at the time that he needed to be back, or daddy, you know, whatever it was. I didn't go after the behavior. I went after the holding my child emotionally through the pain, the disappointment, all the rest of it. I didn't criticize his father. I painfully learned over a very long time not to try and engage his father in discussions about things, because every time I did that, I was getting caught back up in the race again, the race I can never win, that he's going to move the finishing line. Of course, if you have safeguarding concerns, you have to pass them on. But again, you know, well, of course I can't say what the result is, but anything safeguarding, you just have to pass it on because it builds up a picture. But whatever else is going on, the most important thing is for you to get some support, get some work done on yourself so that you can become this healthy, safe, holding energy for yourself and for your child. It's like, you know, making sure that whatever happens, you two are the best, healthiest version of yourselves, so that your relationship is very deep, very connecting. And then whatever happens with the other parent, it will impact your child much less, is what I noticed with my son. And believing in the relationship that I had with my son, even though sometimes my ex would try and really mess it up and, you know, mess my child up as a result, I would just get myself back on that track with my child and focus on that, and then just leave the other stuff alone. So unless it's a safeguarding issue, then leave it alone. Leave it alone. It's just going to be a waste of your time and your energy. And I know that's not fair. I know it's not just. I know it might not even sound like it makes sense, but I promise you the best advice I can ever give you about anything, as I say, from personal painful experience, but then everyone I've ever worked with, is just leave them to dance their dance. Minimize how much you message them back. Do keep the messages, but don't get into big back and forths, because again, that's a big energy drain for you. Minimize conversations, minimize everything. And make sure that you find somebody who is a really good listener. So you can just, if you feel the need, and again, actually, it doesn't, I know we think, oh, I need to go and unload and unburden somebody and say, oh, you never guess what she did. Oh, you never know guess what he did this time. It actually doesn't bring us any peace. But if it works for you, then fine, find that person. But that won't actually sustain your energy as much as you might like to think it is. Just find simple things you do every day, simple breathing, strip your life out, keep it simple, 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 so that you preserve all of this, so that you can always move your focus to, okay, I'm allowed to feel how I feel about what they've done, what my ex has done this time. I'm going to breathe my way through it. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do whatever I need to do so I can feel okay, not get sick in this process, and hold my child through this. So when your child feels like actually all that mummy or daddy really cares about is how I'm feeling about this, then that will be more than enough. I can tell you now, having gone through this with my son, who's now this incredible man with this, just become a father himself. He is the most beautiful, beautiful, gentle, sweet, kind father. History in no way has repeated at all. So I hope that's a comfort to you. But remember, they don't want to change. They don't want to see reason. They actually don't have the ability in them. And again, this isn't an excuse. It's just a reality to care at all about from themselves. So you can throw what you like in front of them, but that, again, that's just a big draining of your energy and your time and your connection and your love with your child. So do some work if you need to with someone. Try and move yourself away from that habit onto, actually, I can feel myself doing it again, ground myself back in the zone with just me and my child. So I hope that's helpful. I wish I had magic to give you, but all I have to give you is actual lived experience and then years and years of working with this to conserve and preserve you and your beautiful, beautiful children. Take care. Jane Evans, the Lasting Life Change Coach.